What if the most powerful psychological secret to transforming your life isn't about changing your thoughts, but about changing what you see in the mirror? And what if that reflection holds the key to unlocking your entire potential? Carl Jung revealed a profound truth that most people never grasp. Your external presentation is a direct manifestation of your internal world. The way you present yourself to the world isn't superficial vanity. It's a living dialogue between your soul and your surroundings. Most people over 40 dismiss this connection as trivial, believing that appearance doesn't matter. But Jung's wisdom points to something much deeper. He taught that human beings are bridges between inner essence and outer expression, and true power emerges when both flow in harmony. Let me ask you something that might feel uncomfortable. When was the last time you looked in the mirror and felt genuine pride for the person looking back? Not just recognition, but real admiration? When did you last see not merely a face, but a force of nature fully aligned with their purpose? If your answer is distant or never, then this message is precisely for you. This isn't about superficial makeovers. It's about the fundamental relationship between how you see yourself and who you become. Jung understood that the psyche constantly seeks integration, and your outer reality serves as a perfect mirror of your inner condition. When your reflection no longer inspires you, it's a powerful signal that your essential self has been neglected. After decades studying human consciousness across cultures, Jung identified a universal pattern. When external presentation aligns with internal truth, life begins to flow with effortless grace. When what you project matches what you feel, existence transforms from a constant struggle into a harmonious dance. This isn't vanity, it's vibrational alignment. It's the psychology of resonant being. I once worked with a man who perfectly illustrated this imbalance. By all external measures, he had achieved success. Impressive career, financial stability, loving family. Yet his eyes carried a subtle weariness that words couldn't conceal. After a workshop, he confessed, "I've accomplished everything I set out to achieve, but I wake up every morning feeling disconnected from myself. When I look in the mirror, I see someone who compromised their essence." I shared with him what I'll share with you now. Your appearance isn't an act of ego. It's an act of responsibility. Responsibility to your core self, your life's purpose, and the energy you broadcast to the world. There's deep neuroscience behind this principle. Every time you face your reflection, your brain performs an unconscious assessment. It compares the physical image it processes with the mental self-concept you carry. When these images align, your neurochemistry responds with dopamine and serotonin, chemicals associated with clarity, confidence, and vibrant energy. You feel capable, connected, and fully alive. But when dissonance occurs, when you see a version of yourself that conflicts with your inner identity, your brain interprets this as psychological threat. It releases cortisol, the stress hormone that drains vitality and clouds thinking. This is why on days when you feel good about your presentation, everything seems to flow more smoothly. Opportunities appear, interactions feel lighter, and challenges feel manageable. This isn't coincidence, it's neuroscience in action. You're operating from a state of self-validation and internal order. Jung would describe this as the harmonious meeting of persona and self, the mask you show the world aligning with your deepest center. Now, let's be perfectly clear. Caring about your presentation doesn't mean descending into narcissism. It's not about superficial approval. It's about cultivating a daily practice of self-honoring. Consider this. If you owned a priceless work of art, would you let it gather dust? If you possessed a rare Stradivarius violin, would you leave it untuned? Of course not. You would care for it meticulously, understanding its inherent value. Your physical presence, your personal presentation, these are the instruments through which your soul expresses itself in the material world. When you neglect them, you mute an essential channel of your being. Many people over 40 treat their possessions better than they treat their own embodiment, forgetting that this physical form is the sacred vehicle through which consciousness experiences reality. I recall facing this truth in my own life. I was in my early 50s, my professional life flourishing, traveling globally, sharing my work. But one evening, my partner showed me a photograph taken during a recent speaking engagement. I looked at it and felt a jarring disconnect. Is that really who I become? I saw a man who appeared tired, drained, separated from his own vital energy. That image became a mirror of my own neglect. That night, I made a conscious decision. I would no longer allow my external presentation to contradict the greatness I felt within. From that day forward, I treated my appearance as an extension of my integrity, not from ego, but from coherence. Because if you speak of mastery, purpose, and discipline, your physical presence must embody those same principles. When you approach your morning routine as a ritual of self-empowerment rather than mundane obligation, everything transforms. Each time you shower with presence, dress with intention, and care for your body with respect, you send a powerful message to your subconscious. I matter. I am worthy. I am ready to lead. That man I mentioned earlier embraced this philosophy completely. Within months, he was fundamentally transformed. Not because he became someone else, but because he finally embodied who he truly was. His energy shifted dramatically. His eyes sparkled with renewed purpose. Both his professional and personal life blossomed. When I asked what had changed, he said something I'll never forget. I finally decided to look like the man I always knew myself to be. That is the essential insight Jung wanted us to understand. Your appearance isn't disguise. It's a revelation. It doesn't conceal who you are. It announces who you've chosen to become. When your external world begins to reflect your internal reality, you enter a state of psychological integration. That's when your energy aligns, your path clarifies, and the universe seems to collaborate with your intentions. So the next time you stand before a mirror, don't search for flaws. Seek truth. Ask yourself, does this reflection align with the person I am evolving into? If the answer is no, then begin, not with self-criticism, but with reverence. Because transformation grows from the smallest rituals of conscious attention. The first key is what I call the mirror connection practice. Each morning before engaging with the world, look directly into your own eyes for 30 seconds. Not to judge, but to connect. Ask yourself, is this person prepared for the day ahead? Does what I see reflect my values, my inner strength, my highest vision of who I'm becoming? If the answer is no, then take action. Adjust your posture, refine your presentation, choose different attire. These might seem like minor adjustments, but to your psyche, they're significant communications. They tell your unconscious mind that you care, that you're present, and that you're committed to embodying your truth. Carl Jung understood that how you present yourself reflects your internal condition. Outer form follows inner essence. The second key is what I call the 10-minute commitment. Each day, dedicate exactly 10 additional minutes to your physical presence. Not 5, not 15, 10. Those 10 minutes might become the most impactful investment of your entire day. Use them to move your body, nurture your skin, or select your clothing with deliberate consciousness. The objective isn't vanity. It's self-respect. Consistency, not perfection, rewires your unconscious sense of self-worth. Consider how much time you might spend scrolling through trivial content or handling insignificant emails. Likely far more than 10 minutes. Yet 10 minutes devoted to conscious self-care can transform how you feel for the next 24 hours. The third key is what I call the personal standard principle. Define clearly how you want to appear and feel, and never compromise that standard. This isn't about superficial image, it's about alignment. If your standard is to always project centered confidence, maintain that standard especially when no one is watching, precisely when no one is watching. Because as Jung noted, your unconscious is always observing. When you honor your private standards, your self-esteem grows from within in ways no external validation can ever match. The fourth key is the 1% method. Instead of pursuing dramatic, unsustainable transformations, enhance your appearance or energy by just 1% daily. One day, this might mean experimenting with a new style element, the next day adding a brief mindfulness practice or posture correction. These microscopic actions compound dramatically over time. Within a year, you won't just look different, you'll feel reborn. The fifth and perhaps most powerful key is the ripple effect. How you feel about yourself radiates outward. Your presence influences every person you encounter. When you enter a room grounded, centered, and self-assured, people naturally gravitate toward you. They sense your energy before you speak. Jung often observed that psyche is contagious. Your internal harmony becomes a silent invitation for others to awaken their own. When you cultivate self-respect through your presentation, you attract not only success, but meaningful connection, opportunity, and vitality. I've witnessed this countless times. Those who consciously embody their worth receive life with open arms. They don't chase approval, they magnetize it. This leads to an essential realization. Taking care of your appearance after 40 isn't vanity. It's leadership. Each morning you step into the world presenting your best self. You give others silent permission to elevate themselves. Reflect for a moment on individuals you deeply admire. How do they carry themselves? How do they move through space? I guarantee they understand that external expression reflects internal mastery. Perhaps you're thinking, but I'm not young anymore. My body has changed. And that's true. But maturity shouldn't be an excuse for neglect. It should be a reason for refinement. At 40, 50, 60, your appearance can and should express wisdom, depth, and quiet authority. You're not competing with youth. You're defining what powerful maturity looks like. When I reached my mid-60s, I committed to becoming stronger, more vibrant, and more connected than ever before. Not to appear younger, but to feel more conscious and alive. I began exercising with dedication, eating with awareness, and dressing with intention. The results extended far beyond physical changes. My creativity surged, my energy expanded, my work deepened. I was speaking with greater presence, writing with more inspiration, and living with deeper gratitude. Now, I invite you to try something. Pause for a moment and find the nearest mirror. Look directly into your own eyes and ask yourself, am I honoring the gift of this embodiment, this existence, this opportunity to contribute something extraordinary to the world? If your answer is yes, continue forward. If it's no, then today, not tomorrow, not next Monday, today is the perfect moment to begin. Every day, you postpone caring for your presentation. You delay caring for your life. You postpone your power, your confidence, your radiance. Have you ever considered that your appearance isn't just the first impression you give others? It's the first impression you give yourself each morning. It's the initial signal your mind receives about your identity and capabilities. Imagine how different your life would feel if every morning when you saw your reflection, you felt authentic pride and excitement for the day ahead. That energy would flow into your conversations, your work, your relationships. This isn't fantasy, it's cognitive science. The mind struggles to distinguish between actual reality and what it perceives as real. When you look aligned with your best self, your mind believes you are capable, powerful, and deserving of success. That belief shapes your actions, and your actions shape your destiny. Let me share a final technique that embodies this principle, the identity wardrobe practice. Each morning as you dress, don't merely put on clothes. Consciously, wear the identity of the person you're becoming. If you aspire to lead, dress as the leader within you. If you want to feel more creative, choose colors and textures that express your inner artist. If you seek confidence, select every element as if it were ceremonial attire for your spirit. Your clothing isn't just fabric, it's symbolic energy. It reminds your unconscious who you are and what you represent. In Jungian terms, this is the ritual of individuation, the conscious unification of your inner essence with your outer world. When your inner and outer selves align, you cease living by default. You live by design. And from that place, everything in your life begins to reflect the beauty, discipline, and meaning that already reside within you. Once a man visited Carl Jung's clinic. His workspace was chaotic with unfinished projects. He had gained significant weight, and his overall presentation showed clear neglect. Jung observed him carefully and suggested, "If you wish to rebuild your career, you must first rebuild your self-presentation. Your outer form should reflect the inner vision you hold for your future." The man decided to follow what Jung described as a personal renewal practice. For 30 days, he woke 1 hour earlier and devoted that time entirely to self-care, not for others, but for his own being. He began with gentle movement, followed by mindful cleansing, then intentional selection of attire and complete personal attention. Within a month, he had lost noticeable weight. But more importantly, he had finalized 2 major business deals that had been stalled for months and even began a new meaningful relationship. His improved self-presentation had rekindled his confidence, and that confidence had revitalized his entire life. This illustrates what Jung called the psyche's reflection in the physical realm. He believed that how we present ourselves is never superficial. It's deeply symbolic. The body becomes a mirror of the soul. It expresses our internal order or our internal chaos. When you align your external image with your internal vision, you create psychological coherence. And coherence consistently attracts transformation. Now imagine if you started tomorrow applying these principles. Imagine if you decided that your physical presentation would become a living symbol of your highest potential. Let me share a practical tool inspired by Jung's method of self-observation. I call it the 5-minute mirror assessment. Tonight before bed, stand before your mirror and ask yourself 5 questions. Does my current presentation reflect who I truly wish to become? What 3 things can I improve immediately? What self-care practice have I been avoiding? How would I feel encountering someone who looked exactly like me in a professional setting? What message am I silently communicating to the world through my appearance? Be completely honest with your answers. Jung believed that genuine transformation begins only when we face our truth without masks. Then choose one specific action you can take tomorrow to enhance your presentation. Something small, yet meaningful. It could be as simple as organizing your wardrobe with greater care, or as significant as consulting a style advisor. What matters is that it's concrete and achievable, because lasting change builds not from grand gestures, but from small, consistent actions repeated over time. Let me tell you about another case. A woman in her early 50s attended one of Jung's lectures. She had worked in corporate communications for decades, but after organizational changes, she lost both her position and her self-assurance. When she met Jung, she expressed, "I feel invisible. When I walk down the street, nobody notices me. In interviews, I feel I project no authority." Jung responded gently, "Invisibility isn't about age. It's about presence. And presence begins with how you present yourself to the world." She began with subtle shifts. She improved her posture, shoulders back, head held high. She updated her wardrobe with clothing that truly fit her form. She adopted a simple, consistent movement practice and paid attention to her grooming. 6 months later, she not only secured a better position than before, she launched her own communications consultancy. Her physical transformation had sparked a complete internal rebirth. The lesson is profound. When you change how you appear, you change how the world perceives you. But more importantly, you change how you perceive yourself. Your appearance is your silent language, your personal symbol. Before you speak, your image already communicates your self-worth, your discipline, your values, and your intentions. Ask yourself, are you communicating excellence or neglect? Confidence or uncertainty? Does your presence declare this person directs their life, or this person has lost their way? These are challenging questions, but they're necessary. Until you confront the reality of the image you project, you cannot transform it. Perhaps you're thinking, this sounds superficial. Shouldn't people value me for my character, not my looks? Ideally, yes. But Jung would remind us we don't inhabit an ideal world. We live in a symbolic one. In reality, people form impressions within seconds of meeting you. In those moments, your appearance speaks more loudly than your words. This isn't about fairness, it's about awareness. You can either be victimized by perception or learn to use perception as a tool for empowerment. Caring for your appearance isn't vanity. It's self-respect. It's a declaration of personal discipline and alignment between your inner values and external expression. Each morning you invest time presenting yourself with care. You send a message to your subconscious. I am valuable. My life matters. My dreams are important. When this message repeats daily, it ceases being an affirmation and becomes a core belief. And that belief ultimately becomes your reality. That's the alchemical transformation Jung described. When inner and outer worlds meet in harmony, the self is reborn. Allow me to share another powerful tool aligned with Jung's teachings. I call it the 3 mirrors ritual. Each day, look into 3 different mirrors. The first mirror is physical, where you examine your external presentation. The second mirror is emotional, where you ask, how do I feel about myself today? Does my external appearance reflect my desired emotional state? The third mirror is aspirational, where you question, does how I present myself today move me toward the person I wish to become or away from that vision? This practice develops multidimensional awareness of your self-image and its subtle influence on your destiny. Have you noticed how highly accomplished individuals often have their presentation perfectly aligned? This isn't accidental. They've grasped what Jung suggested, that external reality mirrors internal conditions. Excellence in one life domain naturally expands into others. When you cultivate excellence in your presentation, that same discipline flows into your work, relationships, health, and even finances. I call this the cascade effect of internal order manifesting externally. Let me clarify what Jung might describe as healthy engagement with your image after 40. It means that every single day, without exception, you dedicate conscious time to present yourself optimally, not from vanity, but from self-respect, not for approval, but as an act of internal alignment. It means your wardrobe should reflect who you're becoming, not who you were. Your movement practice shouldn't be punishment, but a ritual of vitality. Your self-care isn't an expense. It's a sacred investment in your future self. It's understanding that your appearance isn't merely aesthetic, it's symbolic. It's a psychological language communicating your level of self-respect, awareness, and internal harmony. Remember the insight shared at this message's beginning? That your outer world reflects your inner condition? Years later, I understood this wasn't about superficial image at all. It was about personal integrity. Integrity means every aspect of your life resonates in harmony. If you speak of excellence, but your presentation shows neglect, there's a fracture between inner and outer. If you discuss discipline but can't maintain your personal standards, there's inconsistency in your psyche. Jung taught that the authentic self seeks wholeness, a state where thought, emotion, and action align. Your appearance must therefore harmonize with your values, aspirations, and the message you wish to communicate. Now, let's explore something that can radically shift your perspective, what I call the spiral dynamics of self-image. This spiral can ascend or descend. The choice is yours. When you care for yourself, you feel better. When you feel better, you act more effectively. When you act effectively, you produce better outcomes. And when you achieve better outcomes, you naturally care for yourself more deeply. That's the ascending spiral of consciousness, a self-reinforcing cycle that accelerates your growth. But the opposite is equally true. When you neglect yourself, you feel worse. When you feel worse, your actions deteriorate. When your actions decline, your results suffer. And when your results diminish, your self-neglect deepens. That's the descending spiral, a gradual disconnection from your authentic nature. So the question is, which spiral are you currently feeding? And more importantly, what will you do today to ensure it becomes an ascending one? Let me offer 3 precise actions to begin your upward spiral today. Action 1. Remove one item from your wardrobe that no longer serves the person you're becoming. It could be something that doesn't fit, is worn out, or simply doesn't reflect your current identity. Donate or discard it today. This symbolic act tells your subconscious, I'm releasing the past to create space for my evolving self. Action 2. Add 15 extra minutes to your morning routine for the next week. Not for sleeping, but for investing in your presentation, your presence, the image that mirrors your growing consciousness. This isn't about perfection, it's about alignment. The visible harmony between your internal state and the person you're becoming. Use this time for movement, intentional attire selection, skincare, or any aspect of your presentation you've neglected. Action 3. Take a full-body photograph of yourself today and keep it, not for criticism, but as a reference point. In 90 days, after consistently applying these principles, take another picture in the same location. The difference will astonish you. These actions may seem small, but they form the foundation for complete transformation. Before we conclude, I want to share another story. It's about a man in his late 50s who had been a financial manager throughout his career. He consulted me because despite his extensive experience and capability, he had been overlooked for promotion repeatedly. During our discussion, he admitted he had stopped caring about his presentation years earlier. At my age, how I look doesn't matter, he said. What matters is my work quality. I explained that this mindset was silently undermining his progress. Carl Jung taught that what we neglect externally reflects internal neglect. His unkempt presentation was sending a subconscious message. This person has diminished ambition. This person has stopped growing. Jung would have said his external image had become a mirror of internal resignation. The man decided to change. He began what I now call the mature professional protocol. He updated his wardrobe with professional guidance. He started an age-appropriate fitness regimen. He began attending to details he'd ignored for years: his posture, his gait, even how he positioned himself in meetings. The transformation was remarkable. Not only did he receive the long-desired promotion, but he also became a mentor to younger executives who admired his confidence and presence. The lesson here is powerful. It's never too late to decide to present your best self to the world. You're never too old to care about your presentation. You've never lost so much time that starting today isn't worthwhile. After 40, your appearance should communicate wisdom, experience, stability, and confidence. It should declare, this person has discovered what works in life and applies it. Write this down right now. My appearance is an investment in my future, not an expense in my present. Read it aloud. Feel its truth, because this mindset will change everything for you. Imagine your life if you awakened each day feeling completely satisfied with your presentation. If whenever someone saw you, they immediately thought, this person has their life together. That isn't fantasy, it's entirely achievable. It requires decision, consistency, and understanding that caring for your appearance means caring for your destiny. Practice this week. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait to lose weight, acquire more resources, or feel more motivated. Start where you are with what you have, because your life is happening now. Every day you delay presenting your best self is a day lost. Every morning you accept less than your optimal presentation is a morning you undervalue your potential. Your appearance isn't vanity, it's strategy. It's applied psychology. It's personal leadership. It's a declaration to the world that you take your life and aspirations seriously. Reflect on this. What opportunities have you missed because your presentation didn't match your capability? What relationships might have deepened had you projected more confidence? What version of yourself have you concealed behind neglected presentation? The time to act isn't tomorrow, not when you feel prepared. It's now, because motivation follows action, not precedes it. Remember Carl Jung's teaching. The external world mirrors the internal one. You cannot embody internal excellence while neglecting your external form. You cannot advocate discipline while appearing undisciplined. You cannot speak of transformation while remaining unchanged in your presentation. If this message has inspired you to take charge of your appearance, and therefore your life, I invite you to do something. Please like this video and subscribe to Winds of Thought to continue receiving the insights and strategies you need to reach your highest potential. But more importantly, act today. Don't let this be just another video you watched. Let it be the turning point that transforms how you look, how you feel, and how you live. You're one decision away from completely changing your life. The decision to honor your potential through your presentation. The decision to show up as your best self every day. The decision to understand that caring for your image isn't superficiality, it's responsibility. Decide now. Act today. Your future self will thank you eternally. And when you look back a year from now, you'll remember this moment as the point where you stopped underestimating yourself and began presenting to the world the extraordinary person you truly are.